Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Up next, we're covering the next season of Pokemon and its second theatrical film.
That would be Season 2's Adventures on the Orange Islands and Pokemon 2000 movie.
Yes, and it's called 2000 because I guess it came out in 2000, but they make it sound like it's in the future. So, I guess that's the one way for it to fit. And then for this season, they're going to different islands for, I guess, an Orange League, I think, this time. And this time, also, Brock was not in the season minus one episode. He went with Ivy. Don't say her name!
That's not till next season.
And then they replaced him with a new character named Tracey. Well, it was funny we found out why he was gone for a season. And it didn't really make a lot of sense. Apparently, the writers thought that Brock was going to be offensive to people because his eyes weren't open. It was seen inoffensive, so they replaced him for the season with Tracey. And then when no one complained, they put him back.
I just want to see his eyes open. That's it.
Right.
I'm not offended. Just want to see his eyes open.
Right. It's like, what was the problem? We found out it was anyway.
So this one had a different feel because Tracey was a photographer who took professional photographs of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Each time they went to a new one, he would draw them. He wanted to be Professor Oak, and yeah, so
and he wanted to see them in their doing naturally their things, using their their quirks, Lord.
Yeah,
their powers.
Wrong anime.
Their powers, and so he didn't want them just sitting and doing nothing and posing. He wanted to catch them in action.
Right. So. And for this one, I think this is their 36 episodes. And for this one, they have more of a, I guess, with a water Pokemon theme with it. And they had a giant.
It was Misty's season.
Unfortunately. And then and then they had it. Especially they kept focusing on the Psyduck. Mm-hmm. And it won't evolve no matter what. Maybe if you trained it better and quit abusing it, maybe it would evolve.
Oh my gosh, yeah. This was the abusive season. She did nothing but abuse her Pokemon. And I was glad when it finally stopped. It was like, they ought to turn all around and just kick her butt. And then she got Togepi, pee, pee, pee. And suddenly she was loving and caring. It's like,
what happened? That you took from Meowth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's so true. He really wanted it, and he took care of it. And
it was one of the few times that it wasn't for money or for the boss. They just really wanted to keep it because they really liked it.
Yeah. Well, he wanted it.
Yeah, Meowth really wanted it. It's my
Yeah, Misty was selfish. You don't deserve it. Well, neither do you. Oh, the crap out of your Pokemon.
And the Psyduck and stuff. That's why it can't fight, it can't swim, and it can't think. That's why.
It can't evolve.
And then you see when it's trained properly, it's powerful and it's intelligent, but she doesn't do anything because it's not the Pokemon she wants. It's not a pretty one. I'm like, that's Pokeist.
And we also got a little backstory on her when she went home. And we saw her sisters, and she's considered the ugly duckling. She's the youngest, and they really were quite mean to her. So I guess this is why she treats everyone else this way. It's displaced aggression.
Right. And we also have sort of little mini arcs going on with Ash's Charizard. It evolved like near the end of the first season to this season. And it was fine when it first started out. Like, it was abandoned by its first owner. And Ash got it, but then when it evolved twice, it stopped listening to him. It would, when it said Charizard or Charmeleon, he would just sit back, lie down, scratch his belly, go to sleep, yawn, like, are you bored or something? And it would only fight if someone was worthy enough to challenge him or someone looked stronger than him. He wanted to prove he was stronger.
Worthy enough to challenge
him, like, okay, this thing's got some type of ego complex. Mm-hmm. And then when it was finally an episode where it got frozen, and Ash spent all night keeping him warm, and even to the point where his hands were like just raw, trying to keep him warm and alive because of keep the tail from going on. When he saw he was willing to go through all that to save him, he finally trusted him again and started listening to him.
Right. And that was this season's tearjerker. We forgot to mention the previous season when Ash got lost in some cold tundra. and then he and his Pokemon were in a cave, and he kept trying to get them to go back in the balls, and they would keep coming out because they didn't want him to freeze. And finally, he says, "You're not gonna go back in, are you?" And they all huddled around him, and it was like, "Oh my gosh!" And you just wanted to cry. So they had one the first season, the second season. I don't remember the tearjerker the third season.
If they even had one, but I do remember another one they have, like when they have sometimes standalone episodes. Every once in a while, they'll probably do one a season or something. I guess maybe that becomes a trend until they stop following it. Like Team Rocket would get an episode every season.
Okay, then they did have 1 and 3, so never mind.
Right.
So yeah, so that was this season's tearjerker with Charizard.
Right. And in each season, they kind of get one. The first one they had to share with Ash, and it was one where James being forced to get married, and that's one of my favorite episodes ever.
Oh my gosh, he went and he found someone that's just like the girl he ran away from.
Right, that's like, oh, this says a lot. And then the second one, Meowth was, I think, mistaken for was a Meowth of bounty, and they keep wanting to, if they worshipped him and praised him and stuff, he would have this power to give them all coins and stuff and money, and that was power up, and he didn't want to leave the island,
right?
And they're like, no, go away, and Ash was about to come there and said, don't ruin everything, get them off the island,
and then James gave up all his, bottle caps.
Yeah, and Jessie gave all her quarters away. So I never thought I'd be spending this on him. He's really happy here, so maybe should just let him be.
Right.
And he was like, my friends!
So there were some really standout episodes, and we saw him get some more. What is it when he wins the battles?
The little badges?
Yes,
yeah.
He got all these different badges, and you saw him improve as a trainer. Relationships improve between he and his Pokemon.
Right.
And you saw how Tracey contributed, because he was different from Brock. Yeah, he looked like Brock, but he was different from Brock.
His eyes were open.
And he could, besides that, and he had the same colors on, but he contributed something different than Brock did.
Right.
Until he got to the professor, and he wanted to train with him. So.
Right. And so they did as much as they could with that character. I know he wasn't really well received at the time. He did get a following like later, but it was more or less just to add him in because they needed the 3-team trio, and they
definitely with Misty. You can't leave Ash alone with Misty.
Right, and he'll never survive.
No.
And then
it beat the crap out of him with the Pokemon.
And then there was one more thing.
And she finally stopped saying, I want my bike. You said you're going to give me my bike.
Right,
you promised you'd give me my bike.
Look at this point,
she finally stopped using that as an excuse. Right. And she just kept going.
Right. And it was also the recurring theme of one part where they helped this Jigglypuff. And it keeps following them everywhere they go. And the Jigglypuff wants to sing for all to hear. But the thing is, I don't think it's aware that the song is its own power. It puts people to sleep. But it keeps thinking that people get bored or they hate it so much they go to sleep. And it gets mad and draws on their face when they're asleep. And no matter what they do, when they hear it, they go to sleep. Even if they cover their ears, they go to sleep. And then they go, Jiggly! And it just draws on their face and then moves on.
And then he starts following them around.
Yeah, and it's like, go. And at one point, it's a Pokemon, man. It's a Jigglypuff. And Jigga, no! And they run off. Oh, gosh.
So now the movie.
Yes, Pokemon, the movie 2000. Like I said, it sounds like they're in the future.
This one kind of reminded me of Ponyo, with the man trying to capture the different Pokemon. Ponyo had the guy who was in the water, who was voiced by Liam Neeson.
Uh-huh.
Who she had belonged to as a fish. And it reminded me of that because of his lair, I guess you could say. Yeah,
it did remind me of it because of how lavish everything was, and everything had a certain theme to it, which we kind of noticed with the Pokemon movies, that when they have a main antagonist that's not Team Rocket, they're pretty lethal. At least the first 3 movies that we've seen. I don't know if they kind of changed that later and toned it down, but this guy, he was capturing legendary Pokemon, and by doing that, he literally put the world out of balance, because then the birds, there were these little birds that each had an element, and they wanted to take each other's, I guess, habitats or places or their elements, so they could rule the world, and everything was really in discord, and you could see there were natural disasters everywhere, and there were earthquakes, and people couldn't get anywhere, and then all the Pokemon, all from around the world, or whatever world this is, because they don't go beyond a certain place. You think it's all one country,
right?
And so they don't know if they can help, but they'll do whatever they can. And then came the most memorable part of it for a lot of people. You would think it would be something happening with Ash or Pikachu or something with the Pokemon, but it seems to be our favorite part is with Team Rocket.
And we saw them actually become the heroes and help to save the world in this one, which was pretty nice. And he's like, "But you're the bad guy,
right?" And so we can't rule the world if there's no world to rule. And for once, one of their plans worked, and they got there fast. And even had a new motto today. We're going to be good guys for once.
And this movie took $30 million to make and earned over $133 million at the box office. So 10 times the amount, which is still great, but not as great as taking $5 million and turning it into $175 million. So they should have stuck with the $5 million budget again.
Right. But the effects and the animation were really, really well done, right?
And the story was great. I mean, outstanding again, which is why I can't believe I choose you. I still can't get over that because another great movie.
Right. And then here they had the prophecy storyline, which now I know where it came from for I choose you. So in here, Ash is supposed to be the person that had to save the world and restore balance. So he was like the Avatar, but with no powers whatsoever. And I think it was hilarious. Both hilarious and sad.
He has the power of friendship with his Pokemon.
Friendship is magic! The tearjerker for the movie, the first one, you know what it was with Ash and the Pokemon fight each other and the moral it had about, with the people living together and the fighting. But for this one, the saddest moment is when Ash was supposed to be traveling to put the last stone in, and the bird, whatever the one's called, this blue and white, and it couldn't fly all the way because Team Rocket was hanging on, and they realized they were slowing it down. And they knew that if they let go, he would make it, but there was no way for them to survive, and they let go anyway. It said, "Team Rocket's blasting off for good!" And you were like, and you said, "No, don't do it!" Like, they gotta be fine. They're still 20 years later. But I'm sure then it was like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Don't go out like that!" That was the saddest part. They were gonna help save the world. Like, we finally did something right.
So great season, great movie. And we moved on to season 3 and movie 3.
Right. And movie 3 we'll definitely get into because it's completely different from the first two in just Pokemon franchise itself. So, if you have seen season 2 and the second Pokemon movie, please let us know what you think of both of them in the comments below.
And we should be saying every podcast, Sylvia, let us know what you think of season 2 and movie 2.
Right, so you can give us an extra long review of it. So, I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you want to do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in